talk about other factors influencing the ETC. So we talked about these factors in the last lectures. Let me just focus on the first part that I discussed earlier, part 1. So we are talking about foundations and factors influencing the English thought and culture. We talked in the last class, in the last lecture, I have talked about part 1, the first one, invasions. And I explained that according to history, there were Germanic invasions to Britain. And these invasions influenced English in general. More specifically, we are talking about the English thought and culture. In this lecture, inshallah, I will talk about part 2 in more depth. Part 2 deals with the Greek and Roman effects. We're talking about the historical influences of Greek and Romans throughout the history. English has borrowed many Greek words. This borrowing happened centuries before our current use of English. English is considered a Germanic language, as we have learned earlier, that it is one of the languages influenced by the Germanic tribes. It has been strongly influenced by French, as well as other languages. You know, French, as we have it here, French is a Romance language from Rome, which has much geographical crossover with Greece. So they borrowed some Greek words to French, and then we have it in English. Let me talk more thoroughly about the ancient Greek philosophy and how the English or the Greek, the ancient Greek philosophy affected English thought and culture. You know, as we have it there, ancient Greek philosophy arose in the 6th century BCE and continued through the Hellenistic period, at which point ancient Greece was incorporated in the Roman Empire. It dealt with a wide variety of subjects, including political philosophy. Then we have ethics, metaphysics, logic, biology, etc. and etc. Many philosophers today maintain that Greek philosophy has influenced much of Western thought since its inception. What's the meaning there? So many philosophers today many philosophers stress the fact that the Greek philosophy has influenced the Western thought to a great deal. Let me go to, I would love that you read this carefully and critically. I will just focus on some main parts here. Well, let's go to this part, that unbroken lines of influence lead from ancient Greek and Hellenistic philosophers to the European Renaissance and Enlightenment. So they affected these important periods or ages in Europe. In other words, the Greek philosophy, the Greek teachings, laws, and philosophies affected the English and European thought and culture to a great extent. Okay, now let's shed some light on main figures in the Greek civilization. So according to the Greek civilization or culture, they have very powerful, very influential figures, personalities throughout the history of ancient Greek. For example, we have Socrates or Socrat in Arabic. Socrates, he had a great impact on the Greek philosophy, and this influenced, so this in return influenced the European, the American thought and culture. So as we have here, I don't like really to go over the whole thing to read, but I will go to this part, you see, and the influence of his ideas and approach remains strong in providing a foundation for much Western philosophy that followed. It continues. So his thought, his ideas, Socrates, he left a great impact on our, or on the English and Western thought up today. So I would like you to go and read this critically. Socrates, a classical Greek Athenian philosopher, credited as one of the founders. So he is viewed as one of the founders of Western philosophy. He's one of the founders of the Western philosophy. You know, one of his students, Plato, let's go now to Plato. Plato is another great figure in the Greek philosophy or Greek culture and civilization. Similarly, as we reach there, because I don't have enough time to go over the whole materials, I would like you to read it and focus on main aspects that I share with you now. So Plato is one of the most important founding figures in Western philosophy. This is another important statement. It's a concluding remark that Plato, like Socrates, his teacher, is one of the most important founding figures. They are so important personalities in Western philosophy. We will discover more and more that very important laws and teachings in the Western and American thought and cultures, we will find that they are basically affected to a great degree, to a great extent. They are affected by the Greek and Roman cultures and civilizations. More specifically, these great thinkers and philosophers left a great imprint, a great influence on the English, Western, and American culture and thought. Let me go to another important figure, Aristotle. Aristotle is another great figure that, or who contributed to the great influence of the Western great influence. He did a great influence on the Western thought and culture. So Aristotle was a Greek philosopher, a student of Plato, and teacher of Alexander the Great. His writings cover many subjects, as you see there, including physics, metaphysics, poetry, theater, music, logic, linguistics, politics, government, ethics, biology, and zoology. There are, many things that we can learn again from Aristotle. So all aspects of Aristotle's philosophy continue to be the object of active. Let me go back. All aspects of Aristotle's philosophy continue to be the object of active academic study today. So, all in all, briefly, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, they were very important figures in Greek philosophy. They have influenced the American, the English, and Western thought at large. Okay, now let me go to another slide. Ancient Greece and Roman and their influence on modern Western civilization. So let's discover more about the Greek and Roman influence on the modern Western civilization, thought, and culture. According to this text, the Greeks had a massive influence on life today. They were the first to develop democracy. So now if I ask you, we trace democracy to who? Or to which culture or civilization? We can trace it to who? To Greek or to Greece. So we can trace it to the Greek civilization or Greece, to ancient Greece in specific. The American political system, like those of many other Western nations, is profoundly, greatly, massively influenced by ideas from ancient Greece and Roman. So this text stresses the point that the American thought, culture, and politics, like other Western nations, you name it, English, German, Italian, as well as other Western nations, they are influenced greatly by who? By the ancient Greece and Rome. So they are profoundly influenced by ideas from ancient Greece and Rome. Our ideas about democracy and republican government come from these ancient governments. Our values of citizen participation and limited government originate in these ancient societies. Again, so there are many values. There are many laws which are derived from where? Derived from the ancient Greece and ancient Rome. The founders of the United States had all received a classical education, and they were forming their own ideas about the world. They were learning about and absorbing the ideals of ancient Greece and Rome. Again, the American founders, the founders of the United States, they absorbed the ideals, the ideas and ideals of ancient Greece and Rome. It is no wonder that when they were building the foundations of American government, they looked to ancient Greece and Rome for inspiration. So they were inspired, they were influenced by the Greek and Roman laws, teachings, and philosophies. You can go to these websites for more information if you like. So you can go to these links. You can find them on the internet to get more information on the Greek and Roman influence on the ETC, or the modern Western civilization and culture. Let me now go and speak more specifically about the Roman Empire. So I talked about the Greek in general. I referred to some major figures. Do you remember them? Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Now let me shed more light in more detail on the Roman Empire. So the Roman Empire at its height included about a fourth of Europe. So it covered about a fourth of Europe, invaded or governed. It was governed or ruled by the Roman Empire. Much of the Middle East and the entire northern coastal area of Africa, all these regions were governed by the Roman Empire. It talks about the Roman Empire. Its millions of people spoke many languages and worshipped different gods, but they were united by the military power and government of the Romans. So the Romans were controlling and governing all these millions of people we find in Europe, in the Middle East, in Africa, and in other parts of the world. The city of Rome grew from a farming village in central Italy to become the capital. So it became the capital of the huge empire. The Roman Empire fell apart almost 15 years ago, but it is still, this is a major point here, this is a main part, but it still influences our lives. So the Roman Empire still influences our lives. More than 300 million persons speak languages directly related to Latin. Latin is the Roman tongue, the Roman language. Many words in English and in other languages come from Latin. So Latin is a very important language, like Greek. So we have Greek, Latin, as well as other languages, other important languages. Roman law provided the basis of the law of most European and American nations. So they learned from the Roman law. we are talking about Al-Qanun, the law, the Roman law, Al-Qanun Romani. It has influenced the European and American nations. It helped them to shape their laws and their policies. So you can go to that link for more information. Okay, how about the Roman Empire and Christianity? Now let me give you more details. I'm trying to narrow down my discussion to reach the third part, the third element, talking about religions and their effects on the thought, culture, and civilizations of people. The Roman Empire and Christianity. Christianity became the state religion of the Roman Empire in 380 AD. So it became the state religion, بمعنى دين الدولة. The state religion of the Roman Empire was what? It was Christianity. Christianity was the state religion of the Roman Empire. Look at this. Look at this statement. It is very important. It will elaborate many things in our discussions. So, the Roman Empire influenced many countries. And since the religion was Christianity, they spread Christianity. In other words, Christianity has spread throughout the whole world, or worldwide, by what? By the Roman, or by the power of the Roman Empire. By power and by authority, Christianity has spread. You may go to that link. You may go to that link for more information. According to that link, the Roman Emperor Constantine's conversion was a major event. It was a major event. The Roman Emperor conversion. Conversion means what? Turning from a pagan religion to Christianity. So Constantine was a pagan, and then he decided to convert, or to go back, or to go to Christianity. One of the supposed watersheds in history is the conversion of the Roman Emperor Constantine. Constantine, he converted to Christianity, and he forced this dogma or this belief to be the state religion of the whole Roman Empire. So he decided to convert in or about 312 AD. According to them, the triumph of Christianity, look at it, they call it a triumph. النصر النصرانية كان على يد من? It was at the hand of Constantine. Constantine, he is the one who gave the triumph for Christianity. Contemporary Christians treated Constantine's conversion as a decisive moment of victory for Christianity. So this is a very important statement. After the emperor, the Roman Emperor Constantine, after he decided to become a Christian, he spread Christianity through the Roman Empire. So he is a main figure in the spread of Christianity. You can get more information going to that link. So this is basically what I wanted to stress at the end of this lecture, that the Roman Empire helped Christianity to spread. It is the Roman Empire. And by the way, at a certain time, for example, we are talking now about 312, but before the conversion of this Roman emperor, Christianity was persecuted by previous emperors. In other words, other Roman emperors, for example, in Palestine, they ruled a great deal of the Middle East. They ruled Lebanon, Palestine, Jordan, Syria, as well as other major parts in the Middle East. They were persecuting Christians, and as we will come to know, that according to the Bible, according to the Christian book, so I have some Bibles here that I will share with you in the upcoming lecture, inshallah. I will shed more light on the Bible and the main teachings of the Bible. But according to the Bible, Jesus was persecuted by the Romans. But after a period of time, one emperor, his name is Constantine, embraced Christianity in 312 after AD, after the death of Christ. This is the meaning of AD, after the death of Christ, as they believe, as the Christians believe. So he is the one who spread Christianity. And this, in conclusion, this affected the English, the Western, and American thought and culture. We will discover more about these things, inshallah, in the upcoming lecture. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.